What's up, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Yellowhorn. I'm your host, Chris, and today we're looking at that Sam Darnold no tag issue. Um, there's a lot to unpack with that. The whole will he, won't he be tagged? There was a lot of back and forth amongst the media, the Vikings fans, how it's criminal if Kwesi doesn't get anything in return. And ultimately, I think there's multiple layers to it. One is, do you think Sam Darnold's worth 40 million a year guaranteed? Because if they tagged him, um, that's what any team that traded for him would at least have to pay until they worked out a new deal. And that's what the Vikings are on the hook for until they move him. So it essentially comes off the books as cap space from what I've read. Um, so it's that much less that they'd have to work with until he was traded. Now, you assume if they're going to tag and trade him, you have a trade worked out. So then, you're not really going to be holding on to that money too long. Again, I think it's about the draft capital that a team would give up, basically just for the negotiating rights. So you're going to pay 40 mil guaranteed and and a draft pick to get negotiating rights, hoping you can get a long term deal done with him. I don't think Sam Darnold's worth 40 mil a year. And I know, on Twitter, a couple of people have come back to me and just said, well, yeah, it's going to be around 35 or 30. Maybe. I just don't think he's going to get a Kirk Cousins type of deal where you see fully guaranteed money. And I think that's the risk the Vikings would have had to live with had they tried to sign, tag, and trade him. You run the risk of one, no team taking it. Two, um, you have JJ McCarthy sitting on the bench. So if you're truly moving forward with JJ McCarthy, and people came at a few different posts saying, well, you're freeing up the cap. Sam Darnold wouldn't take up that much cap if they were able to sign him to a team friendly deal. Obviously, I think JJ's KOC's guy and they want to move forward with him sooner rather than later. And that's why they're letting Sam walk. Um, I also think from the optic standpoint is you have a QB who won 14 games last year. He went to the Pro Bowl. Um, he had 2 really, really bad games back to back, and I think that's what sits in people's heads. You have to look at his large scale of work. I think it was Chase Daniels who said, "Oh, you're gonna let, that production go out the door." A lot of people think it's KOC's doing. You had KOC as his coach, who people are labeling a QB guru, a little QB whisperer. Um, you have Justin Jefferson as your QB. You had a decent running game with Aaron Jones. Like he had a lot of weapons around him. So I think people are worried that he's a product of the system. And then those last couple games just, left a very, very bad taste in other GM's mouths. It is what it is. Um, so I think all that comes into play along with what is the comp game for Sam Darnold if and when he signs with another team? I heard as high as a second round. I heard as high as a third round comp pick next year. Um, and I think that sticks out in Quasi's mind. I do think that a team maybe like the Raiders went to him and said, "Hey, we'll give you a fifth for negotiating rates." And this team does have a lot of holes to fill this year, so I do think maybe they probably hemmed and hawed about taking that. Like, nah, all right, there's a lot. This year's draft is very very deep, so maybe somebody thought throwing in a fifth, they have a lot of spots to fill. Maybe they'll take it, and it's just not worth it because next year they could get a third round pick. Now, I know that's all based on who they sign in free agency, what Sam gets signed for, but I think Quasi's playing the long game here. He is a bargain shopper. I think fans may be disappointed with how he signs free agents this year. I think he's going to continue on with a second day shopping, and look for value and fill a lot of spots versus large splash signings. But again, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, when it comes to Sam Darnold and the tag and trade, I think it just came down to draft capital, and the guaranteed money. I don't think a team wanted to be on the hook for $40 million, along with giving up a pick for somebody who may or may not be that good again. You know, Sam could land somewhere, and a team's going to protect themselves and have a year or two option where if it doesn't work out, they can unload them. So I think all that came into play. Um, we'll find out as it slowly leaks out to what happened, how it didn't happen. There's also rumors that he could re-sign with the Vikings on a team-friendly deal. I think Vikings Twitter and all the JJ McCarthy lovers would lose it if that does happen. But we'll see. Again, it is what it is. Let's trust the process. Let's trust the team and see how it goes. I'm excited to see what they do in free agency, and if JJ McCarthy gets out there and he's a starting next year, I'm excited to see what he has. Let's let's keep it rolling. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Skull Vikings.